Hello, it's Hugh, and I know that everybody's right at the end and probably has other finals and stuff like that, but I'm getting the sense that a few of you are really worrying over the portfolio and how to fine-tune it and how to get things just right. And I understand. I understand that it takes quite a while for people to sort out. Obviously, time is short. So let me tell you what I've got here. I've created a folder on the desktop called Portfolio. It really doesn't matter what the name is. This is just a little recognition of what's supposed to end up inside it. Now, right now, there's nothing inside it. Absolutely nothing at all, right? Here's Dreamweaver. And let's just say that I've already set up a site that uses that empty folder, Portfolio, as the local site folder, and I'm set up so that I can connect to my student account. So the first thing I'm going to do is go get the stuff that's in my portfolio. This part has to do with backing things up so you have a safe copy. So I'm going to go ahead and get into FTP mode and connect to the server. And of course, I don't want every single thing over here. What I really want over here is my MIC104D folder, right? So I'm going to pick that thing up, and I'm just going to drag it right over here. I'll say yes. Now, we have a nice fast internet connection, which definitely helps. And it's collecting all the files. It's not uncommon for little mistakes to happen especially on the Seattle Central server. I'm not quite sure why, but if this comes up, basically cut your losses. Don't worry about it too much. This is 3 files or folders. If I want to look at the details, it's having some sort of weird little problem with some of the files in Alice. Now, I could always solve that problem later if I need to. Okay? So now here's everything from the MIC104D folder, all of it, right? So that's that's all just sitting right there. Now I'm going to check out of FTP, drop back into standard Dreamweaver, and of course here's all the stuff down inside there. Now if I want to add something, right? So let's say I've got a couple of homeworks that are still kind of missing from this mix. Well, I made these 2 sort of make-believe homework folders out here. So let's say you've got homework 6 and you've got homework 7 and you're trying to get them added to the portfolio from where you're currently sitting here. Well, if you've defined the site the way I just did, you could take these folders that have your homework in them and just drop them right in there like that, right? They get copied inside, or in this case, because they're in the same spot, they get moved. Dreamweaver will usually take a moment or two to recognize that it's got something new, but it tends to notice rather quickly. And if it doesn't, you can give it a little nudge with basically refresh here, and it will quickly notice what's out there. Now, these guys are not at the perfect height to be related to the portfolio here. Height is maybe a funny word to use for this, but they need to be basically at the same level. Now, for them to be at the same level in regard to the portfolio, which is this guy, as the rest of these files that link to the portfolio, you wouldn't want them to be outside and above. So we can just pick them up and drop them right on MIC104D. If you get any, do you want to update, you say yes. Here's homework 6 going in. Update. Now, you notice everybody's inside the MIC104D folder here, right? Everybody's inside there. So, basically, all we've got to do is open up our index. Which is right here. And I've got a couple things missing, but look, here's lesson 6. And I'll just say, inside the lesson 6 folder, I want to link to this file called index. Well, of course, all I have to do is pull my point to file device down to it, right there, right? And the link represented here just describes the pathway that the portfolio needs to follow to find it. So that's correct. Now, inside of Homework 7, I tried to create a sort of a duplication of the problem where sometimes there's more than one file to link to in your homework, right? It isn't always just one file. So there's index inside of Homework 7, and there's also some other file, .html. So for Homework 7, I'm just going to hit Enter right after it over here, and I'll say file 1, file 2. Now, this is not the system that I require of you, but it's a way you can do it. I don't care what you type here, just so you have something to indicate these are different files to go to. So if I select file 1, I'll just link it to Homework 7 index. And if I have file 2, I'll link it to Homework 7 some other file, this thing here. Okay? So now I've got those two files ready to go. Now, I also suggested that it might make sense to just get rid of the various sort of unneeded parts of this. So maybe I'll say, like, delete row. Let's see, is it in here somewhere? Decrease row span. I'll tell you what, I don't really want to mess around with that too much right now. But the idea is you basically can get in here and sort of shorten the number of these things. For the moment, I'll just trim that out like that. So if this was my stuff here, and there was no special project, so please don't worry about that. There was a final exam. Now, I never... Why, look at this, I did make a folder for the final exam. Now, it doesn't have a file in it, but for example, this would have been one of the things that came along for the ride when I backed up and copied my portfolio files, right? So here it is. So if you needed to link to it now, you could very easily just pull over and grab your index. Okay, so here's my update. I save it. I go back and connect to the server. Here's my MIC104D folder. And as usual, I'm a strong advocate of cutting down on visual clutter when you try to do this stuff, just to save your poor, tired brain. Okay? I'm just refreshing the files there. So now you can see the only things that are over here that are not over here is the Homework 7 and Homework 6 folders. And of course there's an updated and altered version of the portfolio. So I can just pick up Homework 6 and Homework 7 and drop them right on MIC104D. There they go. And of course the necessary homework files are there now, but the portfolio that is over here inside MIC104D, this guy, does not reflect that homework yet. But this updated version does. So I'll drag the portfolio with the changes back to MIC104D, sure, include the dependent files, and there we go. Now I realize that this does not make it transparently understandable to everybody, but there comes a point when it just suddenly hits you what is going on here. You're just putting things that need to travel together in the right place, in the right relationship to each other, and just moving them as needed. Don't mean to oversimplify, but there it is. Now, if anybody's having big trouble and freaking out, don't do that. Get in touch. Let's talk about it. Nobody ever has to do perfectly on these things. What you have to do is explain to me what's going on. All right? And so be in touch if you have trouble, and I'll talk to you real soon.